Hey, it's Kevin. Welcome back to another episode of the video blog. Forgive me, I've been iPodding a little bit here today. And if you've looked at the title of today's blog, you'll know what album I've been listening to. If you know anything about popular rock music. All Right Tokyo is a reference to the opening line to the road manager announcing epic recording artist Cheap Trick on stage at the famous, one of the best live rock albums of all time, Cheap Trick at Budokan. Last week was the release of the 30th anniversary version of Budokan, which is kind of funny because I own like 4 different volumes to begin with. But this time around, you get a DVD included, and you get the whole 2-night Budokan experience in what's now just simply called the box set Budokan from Cheap Trick. DVD, 3 CDs. An interesting story behind it. Album was originally recorded for Japanese consumption only back in 1978 because they were more popular in Japan. At the same time, they recorded one of the 2-night shows for a television performance in Japan. That's what you see on the DVD here is the Friday night, whatever it was, the Friday night performance at Budokan. And then you also get a CD version of the Friday night performance, which again is a little bit different. If you're used to the other album, there are different nuances in the songs. They don't have the exact same pattern in between. It's kind of interesting. And then you get the complete Sunday night show. I think it was a Friday night, Sunday night. It was like a 28th and then the 30th or something like that. But anyway, it's kind of funny because they've really mined that territory over the years with Cheap Trick. But I'm not talking about the 10s or 12 or different versions I own of the album. I talk about what it did for me and how it changed my life. And it was one of those albums, I had listened to Cheap Trick, and we've actually talked about it in a couple of blogs, and you've seen me wear the Cheap Trick hat. It was one of those bands that really spoke to me and still speaks to me to this day. I'm originally from Illinois, they're from Illinois. It has nothing to do with that. Or maybe it did because that's where I learned about them first in 77. It was when their first album came out. I didn't own any Cheap Trick music up until that point. My friends did, so I didn't need to buy it myself. But when Budokan came out and I heard it on the radio, I had to own it. And then I had to go see him in concert. And then I went back and bought all 3 of the previous albums. And then it became a lifelong obsession where I own everything Cheap Trick. I have Rick Nielsen Cheap Trick guitar picks. I've seen them perform at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I've seen them perform, at fairs, at festivals. I saw them on the Budokan tour of America in 1979 and 80 at the Hampton Coliseum in Hampton, Virginia. I've pretty much seen them in almost every town I've ever lived in, and sadly had the chance to meet them backstage. It was 2 summers ago now, and that wasn't exactly a special experience. They were at a festival that I was helping out with, and needless to say, they weren't the nicest guys in the world. C'est la vie. We'll actually touch on that about meeting your idols here coming up in a blog post soon. But it doesn't matter, because no matter what version Cheap Trick at Budokan is, it takes me back. It takes me back to a simpler time. It takes me back to a time when all that mattered was the music. And again, I don't want to go back to those times. I don't want to be a 17-year-old kid all over again. I have no desire. I lived 30 years ago. My folks and I were talking about that, just talking about age and talking about thought processes, over the weekend. Again, the music takes you back. And I will keep buying. I don't know how many more versions of Budokan they come up with in my lifetime. But again, the only downfall to Budokan, the only bad thing I can say about the album, is when you transfer it to your iPod, you get the clicks in between the tracks, where with a live album, you hear the clapping, and the clapping stops for a half second, and it goes to the next cut. I know iPod promises gapless or seamless playback, but I've not been able to get any of my iPods to do that. I even had Twitter friends, we were talking about that on Saturday, and who knows. Have a great Monday. Have a great rest of the week, as a matter of fact. I'm going to go back, I know I've got to get some more work done. But kick back a little bit more and enjoy some more Cheap Trick at Budokan. Enjoy the Budokan 30th anniversary CD. Have a great one. Have a great week. We'll blog with you tomorrow.